Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Doctor Who is back into the fire, so careful for spoilers from episode 1 if you haven't seen it yet. How about that tease at the end? Everybody start growing their Master Roger Delgado beard out. I love the way that they're bringing back the John Sim Master while we also have Missy, meaning we might get a Master team up. Like, what is he doing here if she's already here? There's so much to explain. It's a lot like the Doctor running into other versions of himself. Like, it just gets extra crazy. It probably has something to do with the mysterious looking vault beneath the school that the Doctor is trying to hide. Oh good, it doesn't want the vault, it's just chasing us, it wants to kill us. Like, he was so happy that the monster in this episode didn't want anything to do with what he was trying to protect. So that is just a giant hat tip to it being this huge MacGuffin for the rest of the series. They might reveal it in the next episode, we might wait till the end of the series before we actually find out what's inside there. Very reminiscent of the Pandorica, just this mysterious box, you wonder what the mystery is that's inside. So what I'll do is like a top 5, then I'll talk about Easter eggs and address like all the big WTF moments at the end of the episode, particularly the John Sim return. But overall, I felt like it was a great starter for the series. They usually try to make episodes like this jumping on points for new audience members. Clearly, they've aged it down just a little bit, even though the spin-off series Class is about a bunch of actual school kids. So this is still like a little bit older, but the Doctor is an actual professor, which is metaphorically what he's been since Capaldi's taken over. But now they're making it a literal thing. In number 5, meet Bill, the apt pupil who just open to learning whatever, like she has these crazy ideas in her head. Maybe they're lizards possessing her brain. So it's their way of letting you know that she's just open to the really wild concepts that she'll be introduced to as the Doctor tutors her across space and time. So I love Pearl Mackie's energy. She actually said that before she got the role, she'd only watched like one episode of Doctor Who, but I don't think that's necessary for being a good actor. Like, Doctor Who is one of those things where you have to reference all the stuff that's come before. Like inside the Doctor's office, you have the pictures of River Song, Susan, you have all these things around him that are Easter eggs for the stuff that's come before, the other adventures that he's been on, but you need to move forward. So Bill's gonna be a really fun way to do that, where he'll have to explain things to her, so like she's the audience surrogate, where people who never watched Doctor Who before get to learn about new concepts like, what's a Dalek? Well, a Dalek is just a Dalek, come on, let's go. So I love the introduction, and I love the setting too, the university. They say you've been teaching here for 70 plus years. They're basically just talking about the entire life of the Doctor Who series ever since the pilot episode. This episode was called The Pilot, so it referenced a lot of things that happened during the 2005 pilot episode, the reboot series pilot. In the original episode of Doctor Who, when the series was conceived, he was an old professor teaching young students, taking them through adventures, teaching them about history. Literally in the episode, though, the pilot was the thing that the water creature took over. It was like a sentient, water-based spaceship that needed a human host to serve as its pilot. That was the girl that Bill fell in love with. It was looking for a partner to travel with it in the way the Doctor was looking for a partner to travel with him on the TARDIS. So there were a lot of parallels between Bill and the Doctor and this water creature in Bill. And I love the lecture that the Doctor gives at the top of the episode where he talks about what would happen if all of your life was laid out in front of you. Would it be like a city? Later in the episode, when Bill touched the creature, it sort of did that for her. It showed her her entire life, all of time and space, collapsed into that single moment. So they were literally showing you time and relative dimension in space, the way the Doctor was talking about it at the beginning of the episode. So Doctor Who is always amazing with visual metaphors. Number 3, though, the Doctor destroys or gets rid of the water monster by taking it to the Movelian Dalek War. If you didn't recognize it, this is the 4th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. The reason they probably picked this one, of all the ones, like they have the jar with every single sonic screwdriver ever early in the episode sitting on his desk. So the reason they probably picked this one during this part of the episode is because a lot of the Movellan stuff that Doctor Who has done overlap with Davros stories. That is a lot of 4th, 5th Doctor adventures, so that's probably why they picked this one. But I love the way that he brings the water creature there because the deadliest fire in the universe is there, and that is the Daleks. But the Dalek blaster does not phase it at all, and then it later eats the Dalek, implying that it's this crazy powerful creature, but it has the same powers as the TARDIS, so of course there's no way to kill it. Bill has to let it go. They have to find some other solution. So the metaphor in here, though, is that it's a bit of a hat tip for what's probably happening with the Master this season. Someone who is too powerful for the Doctor to ever get rid of completely, his greatest enemy and his greatest friend. So there was this really cool speech that the Doctor had about evil in the episode, and I also think that's more of a hat tip for the Master later this season as well too, both versions of the Master, in that he says things are very rarely evil in the universe, most things are just hungry, and hunger is often confused for evil. So the water creature was just hungry for a companion, the way the Doctor himself is hungry for a companion, and the Master is hungry for the Doctor's companionship. So the fundamental truth that they're putting forward in this episode is that everybody in the universe just wants somebody else that wants them. So does that not sound like Missy and the Doctor and the Master and the Doctor? Although for the most part it's been this weird relationship because Missy has been a female version of the Master, so there's always been this subtle sexual layer to it, but we have the male version of the John Sim Master back looking kind of like a classic Roger Delgado version. So before we get ahead of ourselves, I'll say on number 2, the big tease at the end.
Get ready! I'm the Doctor. I've been standing by the gates of your world, keeping you all safe. I'm not stopping now. Any questions?
The Mondasian Cybermen return, the Doctor's regeneration. In fact, that's probably the biggest WTF. The Doctor regenerating before the end of the series. They did say that they had already filmed the Doctor's final regeneration, but they have not filmed the Christmas special, which Capaldi will be doing. So because this is his final season, presumably we'll meet the new Doctor during the Christmas special. They haven't confirmed that yet. They could wait to the beginning of Series 11. But if you remember when Matt Smith regenerated, it was during his last Christmas special. That was the first time we saw the Capaldi Doctor. So they might do the same thing with Capaldi, but they just haven't released a whole bunch of that information yet. But the cool thing is they're bringing back a host of classic villains and updating them. So like the Ice Warriors are featured heavily during that teaser, they're beefing them up big time. So they're refreshing the series itself visually, creatively, and they're refreshing a lot of the concepts. But I really like the way the Doctor gave her that final speech too, like, all these really big sci-fi concepts, but it all came from this very emotional core, this hunger for something more. So Bill is hungry for more. The Doctor's going to give that to her this season with a bunch of crazy adventures. But of course, number 1 WTF is John Sim returning. Big twist, there have been a couple stories in the past where there have been multiple Masters featured, but most of them have been either the comics or the novels. There's the 8 Doctors, the 5 Masters, the Harvest of Time, and the 2 Masters, which is an audio story. So the big twist here is the last time we saw the John Sim version of the Master is he was attacking Rassilon with his life force during the end of time. But then when we got to the 50th anniversary, there was the revelation that all 13 Doctors were helping save Gallifrey from the Dalek War in the Pocket Universe. Then later during the Series 9 finale, we saw Rassilon again, meaning that if he survived, then the Master somehow survived. But we saw Missy, so at some point they'll have to explain what happened to the Master after this instant right here and how he became Missy when that regeneration took place. Presumably with him back, they'll explain that. But all we know right now is that it looks like the Master is traveling along his own timeline the way that the Doctor has done before, like the 50th anniversary, where there's different Doctors from different eras interacting with each other on screen. So the only other thing that we know about this shot is that it looks like he's looking at Bill because you kind of see her poofy hair sticking over the top of the frame here, but that's all the context we have. So let me know, what did you guys think about the episode, and what are all your John Sim Master theories? So what's going to happen is I'm not planning on doing weekly episode videos, but I will do videos for big reveals, like when John Sim actually comes on. I'll definitely do a video for that. I'll do explainers for big concepts if you guys want, so just leave all your Doctor Who requests in the comments below. But while you wait for my next video, you can click here to catch up on all the Star Wars trailers and clips that I've been posting this weekend, and you can click here for brand new Game of Thrones. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys in the next video.